Hey, what is up everybody? Welcome to the channel. Today I'm gonna do something a little bit different than my POV photography videos that I usually post. The GoPro I was using did not record the beginning or the end of this particular photo shoot that's on the screen right now. So I was kind of wondering what I'm gonna do for this week's video. And I think this is a good opportunity to show people how I edit my photos in Lightroom, since I do get a lot of questions about that. Okay, before I start, I have to warn everybody that the mic here is not really the best. My workplace provided this mic for teleworking, and I have to say that, it works, but don't expect the best sound quality out of my voice. Also, I'm not really good in explaining things for tutorials, and that's one of the reasons why I've kind of put it off for so long. So for this particular video, I'm just going to do things off the cuff. It's not scripted. If these videos do get a lot of views, then I guess I can invest in a better mic. But for now, this will do. I mean, it's budget setup and I don't want to spend a lot of money. Another thing is that I'm not going to explain too much. I'm kind of going to be guessing that you know how to use Lightroom. In some sense, it's not really that hard to use, but you'll get the gist of what I'm doing. Okay, let's get started. So one thing to note is that regardless of what I do in this video, you're going to have to set your camera correctly. You're going to have to do all your composition right. Otherwise, what I do here is not going to really make sense, or it's not going to look good. Also, my camera is pretty powerful, so I can deal with the dynamic range. If your camera can't really do it, just adjust accordingly. So for this particular photo shoot, I was using a 24-105 f4 lens on a Sony a7R III. I shot this particular photo at ISO 200, at 49mm, at f4, at 1 out of 3200 seconds. Okay, so what I like to do is kind of look at the scene, and I want to make sure the horizon is straight. So to me it looks fairly straight, but let me kind of mess with it a little bit. Just use the guidelines and the grids. So you would hit the crop overlay tool right here and just kind of adjust as you go. I think that looks right. Okay, yeah, that looks pretty good. So the next thing I'm gonna do is adjust the shadows. It's kind of dark here, and if you ever shot in midday, photographers would say don't do it, but there are some cases for it, like a beach shot like this. But the harsh shadows and lights is going to cause a lot of blacks to really go dark. But because my camera is really powerful, I can go to the shadows and kind of lighten it up. So I'm about like 98 right here, and you can see that it does pop out a little bit. It's still a little bit dark, so we'll go ahead and up the exposure. I think that looks about good. Yeah, I'm gonna turn down the highlights a little bit, maybe around here, just so like if I do mess with exposure more, the whites don't get blown out, so you can see some detail in the clouds and on top of the jacket. I'm gonna make the blues here a little bit darker, so you come down to this panel over here, the HSL, which is hue, saturation, and luminance. We go to the luminance, and we're gonna bring it down just a tad bit. If you go too much, it looks pretty good, but you'll get a little bit of noise in the blue, so we don't want to do that. I'd say maybe around here, -59 looks about good. And then we're gonna do the same thing for the water. The aquas, actually maybe brightening up a little bit, so 55. Yeah, 55 right here looks really good. Next is the sand. The sand looks a bit bland, so we're gonna go ahead and kind of brighten it up a little bit. So around 60. Yeah, 60 looks good. And I have to say that right now the scene looks a little bit better. It's brighter and it's not as dark as before. So what I like to do next here is mess with the curves. So we're going to do a 3-point curve. So we'll have one at the dark points, the mids, and the highlights. So bring down the darks a little bit, the blacks, and then we'll go ahead and boost the highlights. So I think that looks a little bit more crisp. A lot of people like to crush the blacks, so you bring up this point right here, and I'm kind of indifferent. I like it kind of crisp, but we'll bring it up a little bit. Yeah, I think it looks pretty good right there. I would then go to the sharpening and noise reduction after that. So I would go right here to adjust detail zoom, and I'll go to the edge of the bike and see how it is. So let me sharpen it a little bit. I think around 80 would look good. But if you do that, there's gonna be some noise right here. So we're gonna go ahead and do some masking to like kind of get rid of the noise, but the edge will stay a little bit sharp. You can't really see it in the main photo over here, but a lot of pixel peepers will go ahead and look at that and you know, kind of comment on it sometimes, but it doesn't really matter to the regular people on Instagram. So I'll just bring down the detail a little bit more. Then what I like to do next is go to the blacks and see how much noise is there. So I see quite a bit of noise, not that bad, but we can get rid of some. So we'll bring up the luminance a little bit to 21 and bring down the detail. I think that looks fine. So right here, if you look around this area, it doesn't look too bad. I mean, it looks very smooth. Okay, so next I would go up to the clarity and kind of boost it up a little bit, maybe around 25. You don't want to abuse this because things tend to look a little too contrasty, and you can tell that it's just too much. And we'll go to the texture to give some texture to the sand. Yeah, that looks good. Give some texture to the sand. And then the next thing I want to do is go down to calibration, and we're gonna kind of do like the whole teal orange thing, but not too much. I know some people like to abuse that on Instagram too, but we'll go ahead and do that. Yeah, actually that looks too much, I think. Maybe around 14. Let me try to mess with the red primary. I think that works, yeah. Alright, so let me go back up, and I kind of want to brighten up the sand a little bit more. Okay, that's good. So now what I want to work on is his jacket right here. It's a little bit dark, and I'm actually shooting for this brand, so I kind of want to highlight it. So what I'm gonna do is go to the adjustment brush tool right here, click on it. I'm gonna do the exposure. Yeah, I'll just leave it right here at 0.82 to see how it looks like. And then you want to use your middle mouse button or mouse scroll and kind of adjust the size. So let me go ahead and kind of paint over. So you're going to see this dot right here that kind of signifies that this is the area it was painted. Although I don't see much changes, so I'm going to go ahead and boost the exposure up a little bit. Oh yeah, that's a little bit better. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit more painting to highlight the highlights actually of the jacket and the rest of his body. Yeah, that looks good. Let me boost it up a little bit more. Alright, cool. And then I'm gonna go ahead and paint over right here for his helmet because the sun's coming down, so we're gonna highlight this part right here. And then I think I just want to keep this dot to the rider, and then I'm gonna click on new, and then we're gonna make another point, and we're gonna do some highlights to the bike. Again, you can't really see much, so I'm gonna head and boost the exposure up a little bit. Oh, that looks good. Do the highlights right there, some highlights there, right over here by the wheels, some at the tank, and right around this area right here. I probably want to highlight the Brembo brakes right there and his fork. A little bit over here on the fender as well. And then back here, you're gonna see his exhaust, so we'll just highlight it a little bit right there. So yeah, I think that looks good right there. Now, the one thing I don't like about this picture is that there are people here. So this was a public beach, and I can't just tell people, you know, hey, we're doing a shoot here and move. So I just kind of deal with it. So we're gonna go to the tool right here, the spot removal tool, right? And these three things are the objects I want to move, or the people I want to move. We'll start with this one. So there's two ways to use this tool. You can go ahead and click, and Lightroom will kind of figure out where to sample from. So right there is fine. Hit done, and let's zoom in a bit. Oops. So yeah, there was a spot here, now it's gone. So let's go ahead and get the spot removal tool and get rid of this right here. I think it's a surfer. Alright, so you can hold down left click and draw, and then Lightroom will try to sample. It looks kind of jank right now. I think that looks good, so let's hit done. Yeah, I think that looks fine. And then we have these two right here. A little bit more complicated. Let's go ahead and edit him out. Alright, you see like it's kind of not working, so you're gonna have to just do some adjustments. Alright, done. I think that's good. One thing to note too is that humans, they look for patterns, and you know, maybe because my eyes are trained already, I kind of see these two things that look alike and some weirdness going on over here. So we can always go to the spot removal tool and kind of remove them. Sometimes it's going to be a little bit difficult because it's already being sampled, but you know what? I don't think it looks too bad. Yeah, I mean from afar, I don't think anybody's gonna really notice. Alright, so the next thing I'm gonna do is get rid of this guy. Let me see. Again, Lightroom does its best to sample, but it's not perfect. Let me move it a little bit more. Oh, it's kind of not doing it. See, the wave here is kind of messing up now, so I might have to do this again. Let me hit delete. Let me try again. Bit difficult, but I think anybody would notice. It's a little bit smudgy, but let me see if I can do that. Maybe sample from the wave above to fix that. Oh, that's a little too much. Okay, I think that works. Nobody's gonna notice that. Yeah. Okay, from here, so I'm just gonna go ahead and do some adjustments, kind of go through here and pick up whatever I feel may be necessary. So maybe the vibrance, make it a little bit more colorful. Maybe drop the shadows. Oh, that's too much. Okay, well, we'll just leave that alone. I do want to mess with the blue primary. Actually, I think that's fine. Oh, the chromatic aberrations. Normally you would see chromatic aberrations at the edges, but I don't really see much. So I'm gonna go ahead. I'm just gonna click on it. You might remove something that I didn't see. And because we're gonna do this for Instagram, we're gonna go ahead and go back to the cropping and go to 4:5. You do your rule of thirds, and I think, you know, this is Instagram worthy already. Okay, so let's see the before and after. So on the bottom here, you can click on the little arrow and do before, after, left or right. And you can see the before and after. It looks so much better now, right? And that is it for my quick Lightroom editing. I hope you guys liked it. If you guys learned something from it, go ahead and, you know, write in the comments, or if you have any questions or want to see me do more, yeah, go ahead and write in the comments. This is my first time doing this, so I'll try to get a little bit better once I get my bearings straight. But yeah, this was fun. Give a like, subscribe, and all that jazz. And I'll catch you guys in the next one.